was direct with a buffer, and also able to bring their needs to people's attention. You wrote me this letter.
So you see that. So you believe that it wasn't. They played an important role.
Yeah, they played a much more important role than the Christian chaplains did about the other problem. They didn't really dig in. The Jews went at it. Those who went at it really went at it heart and soul, with their whole team. I strongly suspect that I know at least that one of my Catholic colleagues was much more concerned about the German Catholic orphans than he was about the Polish Catholic displaced persons. I remember being called to Dachau urgently. My assistant, a major, chaplain major, later became a Monsignor, Dan Lanning. He was killing the priest of Dachau. Why is he killing the priest of Dachau? Because he didn't provide the priests in the camp with candles. This was by him the great crime. Everything else that went on was unimportant. And there, the Jewish chaplains performed in that gap period of 2 or 3 months.
So you're not underestimating their importance?
Did I sound like I was?
To a certain degree, yeah.
I didn't mean it that
when
way.
you said, for instance, when I asked you what would have happened if the Jewish chaplains hadn't been there, you said, well, they would have been as the same position as the other Polish.
Just great.
Yeah.
That's right. That's a great answer.
Which was pretty bad. In other words,
no, they would have survived. I mean, let's put it this way.
They would have survived. They didn't.
They would have survived. The Jewish chaplain did not serve a life-saving role.
Right.
People who had typhus died.
Right.
And people who were well survived. Sure, occasionally you'd get them some better medical care. You'd open up a hospital in a camp with his assistants. I presume that happened in the other camps too. I'm saying that the Jewish chaplains made the plight of the Jewish displaced person concentration camp income made a little better than the others, because I don't believe that the Christian chaplains got themselves that concerned.
And if they weren't there, things would have just been a little worse. That's all.
It would have been worse.
But tolerable.
Certainly tolerable compared with previous conditions.
Yeah. And do you think that many people would have lost hope had they not been there? I think there is a difference between the Poles and the Jews, or any other displaced person. I think that there's psychology involved there as well as the physical difficulties that were involved. A Pole after the war could go home. A Jew after the war, some felt that they could, but many felt that they couldn't.
They went and they came back.
Okay, but
and many Poles went and came back.
Same.
And many Poles decided they didn't want to go back. I'm not running up a flag for them yet. All of your right-wing elements who were in the concentration camps obviously didn't want to go back. And your volunteer labor became classified the same as the others because it was United Nations national, an allied national, any country which fought against Germany. But I don't like this business. If it hadn't been for Chaim Yankel, that so many Jews are alive today because Chaim Yankel saved them. Maybe they'd have lived anyway. They survived it that far.
But surely some of the
I don't believe that they offered much spiritual counsel in general.
Not religious spiritual counsel, but the fact that they were the first ones. The camps were liberated.
It was nice for them to see somebody running around with a Mogen David on it.
You don't think that was...
That was important.
extremely important that that would be important, though?
Food is much more important.
Which they also provided.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm trying to be this way because
I know you are, but food would have been provided anyway.
To the extent that it was and as quickly.
Who can tell?
Well, let's face it, the
Let's
United
put it
States
this
Army
way,
was...
there was no chaplain in the United States Army who was providing food on a daily basis to 1,000 Jews. So they were being fed from other sources.
But there was a question of calories as well.
Right?
Well, there was a question of calories.
They were getting calories. The trouble was they weren't getting food.
All right. Okay.
In other words, the diet was not very well balanced. The calories were there.
One further question.
They started to steal cows and kill them. It was all right. The Jews were taking care of themselves. You think the chaplains went around and stole the cows and shechted the cows and made kosher meat?
All right, not kosher meat, but I heard of one chaplain who went around
stealing cows.
Stealing cows.
That was Lipman. He was a cow stealer. He stole a cow. And funniest scene with him one time. I got a picture of it somewhere. Of police looking all around the bottom floor, and the cows looking out of the fourth floor of a barracks. They were running the cows up and down the elevator while everybody's looking for them. But the ingenuity of the surviving Jew and his moral strength, in the survival sense, his courage, and there was always a lot of them around with a lot of guts and chutzpah and courage, and they quickly became pretty strong, some of these young survivors. And they took care of things. The chaplain would pat them on the back. They did a good job. Or if they got caught stealing the cow, try to get them out of it. But who stole the cow? That was the guy who bought the food.
Okay, one other question. It was mentioned to me that somebody, about your illegal activity with boats. Do you remember anything about that? You're commandeering boats for illegal...
Yeah, sent some boats from Germany to Paris.
Could we be specific about what took place? Do you remember when, where?
Confused in my mind with lipids on their horses, so where could it have been? Must have been in the Sternbergers.
You weren't shipping out horses.
Yeah, horses were shipping too.
You were shipping, well...
Not to Israel.
Well, let's get both of these.
Returning the Lipizzaners to Austria.
You were returning them?
Yeah.
A general had stolen them, is that right? Yeah, I heard that story. But what about the boats with the illegal DPs?
Wait a minute. The actual shipping was never anywhere near me. I think got 2 boats in Germany, which I got down to the Mediterranean. One from an inland lake, if I recall it, and another one from Bremerhaven.
Well, how did you get boats?
One we stole.
Do you remember how that came about?
We simply went down, put it on a truck, and loaded it and sent it away, that's all.
And the other one?
The other one we also must have. We paid somebody who didn't own the boat for the boat. Somebody else was paid to steal it, that's all.
Okay.
That's all I had to do with the boats.
Was there any other activities that you were involved in? Anything that I didn't touch upon that you feel should be mentioned?
I think the best thing we can do is to dig out that footlocker next time you're through Geneva.
Well, I have